we pray. Kneeling low, hear what we say. Freedom calls in every tone. Faith is built on hearts of stone. Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With His love, we're never shamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise. Welcome to A Righteous Perspective. This is our live show. We do this on a day-to-day basis, Monday through Thursday, 7:30 EST. And I am ecstatic to be here, man. I hope everybody's day has been great. It's actually warmed up here, out here in Maryland. We actually got a little bit of sunshine. The rain went away for a little bit, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, man, we're going to have a good show today. A lot to talk about. This drone situation is still popping. It's still trending. We got to talk about that. And then we'll get more into the lawsuit. And, Trump's, man, he's winning, man. Continuing to win. So this is it's good news, but at the same time, this drone situation is pretty scary. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with it. It's something that, I heard about, about a month or so ago. And, it's just crazy that it took a month before they decided to even have a conversation with us about it. And I still don't think that I've heard anything from President Joe Biden. But I guess that really shouldn't be a surprise due to the fact that he can't really piece sentences together right now. So, it is what it is. If you are watching the channel for the first time, welcome. If you're watching it live for the first time, welcome to the show. Please let me know in the comment section where you're watching from, city. And the best way that you can support the channel is to hit the like button. So I definitely appreciate you guys pulling up today. And we're going to have a great show. Before we get going, we got to have a brief word from our sponsor, Lear Capital. Let me be brutally honest with you all. Our American values and financial system are under attack right now. You need to act fast and learn alternative ways to invest. That's why I trust Lear Capital for buying gold and silver. In today's volatile economic and political climate, precious metals can protect your wealth. Lear Capital has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and more than 3 billion in trusted transactions. Here's what I recommend. Call Lear Capital today. 800-489-6450 or visit learrp.com to request their free gold and silver investor kit. You can take possession of your metals, store them, or even roll over an IRA or a 401k into a gold IRA with the same tax benefits. Plus, they're offering up to $15,000 in bonus gold for qualified purchases. Call today at 800-489-6450 or go to learrp.com for more information.
Officers called 911 after seeing 50 of them come off the ocean.
Advised after we made contact with that officer that there were 50 that came off the ocean.
50?
50. That was my reaction also. There were 50 that were coming off the ocean.
And this is a sworn officer?
A sworn officer, yes. We contacted state police, we contacted the FBI, we contacted the Coast Guard, at which point the Coast Guard went out with their boat and they reported seeing 13 following their boat. And then the Coast Guard also advised that they went over them about 300 feet and had a wingspan of about 8 feet.
You know, the Ocean County Sheriff, that drone unit, they have an industrial grade drone. They put it up. They were tracking one of these drones, Elizabeth, and they said this thing easily evaded them, disappeared out of thin air. So, you know, to me, it's if this is not our military, then it's even more scary, and we need the answers, frankly.
All right, folks. So we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about the wild mystery of these drones over New Jersey, because this story, it just keeps getting crazier. For weeks, people have been spotting these drones, or, you know, something like drones, hovering, darting, and behaving in ways that make zero sense. They've been seen near Trump's Bedminster estate and even around critical military installations. At first, the government shrugged it off, but now the big dogs, if you want to call them a big dog, Mayorkas, the Pentagon, and yes, even the CIA are scrambling to explain it. And their responses are vague, lines about classified exercises and safety. Super reassuring, to say the least. But here's where things take a sharp turn into yikes territory. John Ferguson, CEO of Saxon Aerospace, a serious military drone manufacturer, not some guy with a drone hobby, has a theory that these drones aren't attacking anyone. They're searching for something, specifically something that, you know, may have radioactive material, possibly a nuclear threat of some sort. So, yeah, if you weren't already paying attention to the skies over New Jersey, you might want to start paying attention now.
Hey everyone, my name is John Ferguson. I'm the CEO of Saxon Aerospace here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, you know, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. You know, I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, There were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay. Uh, we don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that come up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, you mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an aircraft, an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something.
So what he's saying is that these drones could be looking for a nuclear device or something of the sort on U.S. soil, on American soil. If this is true, how in the world does something like this go missing? How? But according to this guy, drones don't fly at night unless they're doing something very specific, which makes sense. You don't need drones flying low over New Jersey for fun. Not at night anyway. And the fact that they're clustering near military bases, sensitive infrastructure, and Trump's estate probably means they're not random hobbyist toys. And now we're hearing reports of radiation spikes detected in New York and New Jersey metro areas. Is this a coincidence? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Combine that with the drones, the official silence, and the growing alarm from the experts, the quote-unquote experts, something's just not adding up, guys. It's just not adding up.
Ferguson in that video clip said, essentially they're looking for nuclear material. And remember that there are these two radiation spikes in the New York metropolitan area, one in New York City and the other just across the Hudson in New Jersey. So there's possibility that someone has taken apart a nuke, smuggled it into the United States, and has reassembled it. And that Department of Homeland Security is now trying to scour every place.
Like I said, I mean, things just aren't adding up, man. And the silence from the Biden administration, we understand why Biden's not speaking. We understand because he really can't. But where is our vice president at? Seriously, who's in charge right now? Who is in charge right now? The Biden administration is basically telling us there's nothing to see here. It doesn't really quell concerns, in my opinion. It doesn't quell concerns. The crazy thing is that there's still a lot of people that don't know that this is happening. And that's another problem. This administration, they told us that this would be the most transparent administration in U.S. history, and they've been everything but that. They've been everything but that. They've been the least transparent administration in modern history, run or allegedly run by a man who doesn't even seem to be in charge. Let's just keep it real. And who hasn't been in charge, honestly, probably since the beginning. We don't really know how long he hadn't been, the sharpest daggone knife in the drawer. And then the thing is this Ferguson guy comes out and talks about nuclear material, some sort of, radioactive material possibly going missing. And a few days later, the mayor of Belleville, New Jersey, comes out and basically confirms the entire thing. This doesn't make sense, man. This just doesn't make sense. And you have to ask the question, why is this administration not speaking on this? Why?
Idea what it could be, or which side it could be, where it's coming from?
Yeah, I can tell you what it's not. We know for a fact it's not little green men, and more than likely it's not a foreign adversary, because they would be able to figure out how to turn off the blinking lights. These drones are huge. We had a mayor yesterday on the call with the White House telling them that he had 6-foot drones hovering over his house, yet they continue to tell us we don't know what we're talking about. It's misidentification. Certainly there's some misidentification probably going on, but I could assure you that we are seeing drones in New Jersey all over the place.
All right, so Bethany Frankel, I know she's not like, the New York Times, but she says that she has like some kind of contact at the Pentagon and that it has something to do with radioactive material in New Jersey. What are you hearing?
So here's what I know. I know that we were told by our state police that we have assets over our critical infrastructure. Now, depending on your point of view, that's either concerning or comforting. I think it's comforting because it's probably us listening and watching. We also know that we have drones that are flying in a grid-like pattern. In my opinion, they're looking for something. What might they be looking for? Well, potentially, we're aware of a threat that came in through Port Newark. Maybe that's radioactive material. There was and there is an alert that's out right now that radioactive material in New Jersey has gone missing on December 2nd. It was a shipment. It arrived at its destination. The container was damaged and was empty. So
okay,
potentially
wait,
we're looking
stop
for
right
that.
there, Mayor, because that's very important information. And that came from a credible source.
That came from the U.S. government.
And so it's missing?
Missing.
And they think it's in New Jersey, or it could be anywhere?
It was lost in New Jersey in transit. And again, this is just an example of what I think that we're sniffing for. I think we do have the assets that can go up and fly around and sniff things, which is why we're not seeing the uptick we used to see in Belleville anymore. It's kind of moving, but we're seeing alerts that it's happening now in Pennsylvania.
And that's right about the time that the drone sightings began, right?
Yeah, drone sightings began about 4 weeks ago.
Okay, so when you take a look at this, if this information is indeed credible, why wouldn't the government say, it's us?
That's the crazy part about this. And we've gotten very little information. Even yesterday on that call with the White House, literally mayors were told, you guys are seeing things. There's no credibility to this. We have one mayor, like I said, had drones over his house. I mean, we're no longer going to stand for not hearing the truth. I mean, our state government is failing us. They're not getting the answers from the federal government. And even though yesterday they told us that there's nothing to see here, today there's a top secret briefing going on in Congress. Well, what are they being told that we weren't told yesterday?
Real quick, did you know yesterday when you were on that call about this missing radioactive activity or merchandise, or did you know that this morning after the call?
I was made aware of it yesterday morning. I did raise my hand. We weren't allowed to speak. I did raise my hand, was not called on to get that question answered.
So apparently it is concerning. Even the president-elect, who I'm sure gets some kind of briefings on things, he says he's not going to his home in Bedminster, right?
Yeah, I listened to him yesterday. He no doubt gets the same exact briefings that President Biden gets. He says our government knows. He says our president knows. And he also ended with saying, I'm not going to be in New Jersey this weekend.
Is everybody going to be safe?
I hope so.
Wow. Wow. That's the mayor of Belleville right there. That's a lot to unpack here. So there's been something missing, some form of radioactive material in New Jersey, apparently since December 2nd. Now, I seen a news article or a story or reporting on this end of November. I seen this, and then they had said that there had been sightings as early as a week or so before Thanksgiving. So, this December 2nd, I'm not really sure where that's coming from, but the government's response, of a bunch of drones flying around and, we're just supposed to believe that they're just, looking for a lost item. It just doesn't make sense. And here's what's really cooking. The fact that this information about missing radioactive material only comes out now after the drones, they've been spotted, raises all sorts of red flags. Why are they being so secretive? Why? Why not inform the public immediately if there is a risk of radiation exposure? Why not? And these aren't your typical drones that you buy at the local electronics or on Amazon or something along those lines. These aren't those. These things are, in some cases, the size of small cars. Some people have said these things are the size of SUVs. These things are ginormous. If they're searching for radioactive material, that means that these things are equipped with sensors capable of detecting radiation. This isn't just a casual search. It's a high-stakes operation, but we're getting vague, non-committal responses from our officials. And then we find out that, oh yeah, by the way, they just had this secret, compartmentalized, information briefing today. And we still haven't heard anything from this current administration. Now, there is a potential for a quote unquote dirty bomb scenario. The potential for that, it isn't something to brush off. It just isn't. If these drones are indeed hunting for nuclear material, that means there's a possibility of a significant threat. They wouldn't be out like this, and they definitely wouldn't be out like this for almost 6 weeks now. And yet the public is still left in the dark. Now, it could be a situation where they don't want people to lose it, because you got to think, in New Jersey, especially that Northeast, there's really only one road out of there. It goes north and south. So they don't want it, the situation to where it's a gridlock situation, and they don't want mass panic of people trying to get out of the New Jersey, New York area. I'm sure that's what it is. I'm almost for certain that's got to be the case, because there's not too many major highways getting up and out of the East Coast and getting up and out of that area up there. It's really just 95, and maybe you can go west. Actually, I'm sure there's another road that or a major highway that goes west to get you into PA, but it would be gridlock, and it would be crazy if it was to come out. It'd be mass panic, and I'm sure that they're trying to keep that from happening. But again, instead of transparency, we get lies, we get half-truths, and we also get told there's nothing to see here from the feds, and from this administration. Again, I say that these people told us that they would be the most transparent administration that we've ever seen, and they've been everything but that. And it's bad. When Trump said that he was canceling his Bedminster trip because of these drones, it's serious. Something's got to be going on. Something's got to be going on. And even he's saying that the government's got to know. They got to tell the American people, man. They have to. Here's him on the drone situation at a press conference yesterday. Let's hear what President Trump had to say about this.
To see you.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows, and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it.
Mm-hmm. I said the same thing the other day or last week when we were talking about this. Like, if this is really something that's, a foreign adversary, they would have scrambled the 15s or the 18s already on these things. They would have done so already.
Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know the truth? They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been?
Do you have any reason to think they're?
Yeah, so, they definitely should tell the people. But will they? I highly doubt it, man. Here's the scary part, folks. Who benefits from this chaos? Who benefits from a massive, horrifying event like a potential, dirty bomb going off in New York or New Jersey? I mean, it's who benefits from this? Imagine the timing. Trump's comeback is in full swing. He's set to take office, and the establishment is losing their grip. A major attack happens, blamed on, Russia, Iran, whoever they decide to scapegoat. Suddenly, there's a national emergency, permanent spending, lockdowns, forever wars, so forth and so on. I mean, do you see where I'm going with this? Do you guys see where I'm going with this? If you think they wouldn't pull something like this to tie Trump's hands or to drag us into another war, you haven't been paying attention. This is the same playbook that they've used before in the past. They're setting the stage for something big. A nuclear threat in the United States of America? Really? A potential dirty bomb in the United States of America? I mean, maybe it's just an exercise. Lord, I hope it's just an exercise. But if it's real and they're covering it up, we would be staring at the most dangerous event of our lifetimes. And make no mistake about it, man. Trump and the MAGA movement would be their primary targets. Meanwhile, the government is doing absolutely nothing. No drones shot down, no clear explanations. When one of these drones reportedly crashed, the FBI swooped in and immediately cleaned up the wreckage and said, move along, folks, there's nothing to see here. Think about that, man. A drone crashed and the FBI got there ASAP. You've never seen the government be that damn efficient. Since when does the most advanced military in the world just shrug its shoulders and say, you know what, hey, beats me, I don't know what the heck is going on? When did that happen? Since when did we start doing that? Here's what I think is going on. Here's what I think. And this is just my take, so take it with a grain of salt. But something weird is definitely going on. They know exactly what's happening, and they're deciding not to tell us the truth because the truth is worse than we actually realize. Instead of action, the government is pretending everything is fine. Meanwhile, Trump's estate is right in the middle of the action. It just doesn't sit right, does it? I mean, this is a wake-up call, folks. We can't ignore it. Whether, this is a search for something deadly, a false flag operation, or a test for something bigger, the American people deserve answers. The American people deserve answers, man. If these drones are legit and dangerous, they need to be brought down immediately. If this is some form of government exercise, we need transparency. They should let us know that this is happening. We can't allow the establishment or foreign adversaries to play these types of games with us, man. Not now, not ever, because this story isn't just about drones or lost radioactive material. It's about how our government handles crisis, how they communicate those crises with us, and whether they see us as partners in security or just folks they want to keep in the dark. This right here, I don't know if you guys have read the book. I don't know if you guys have read 1984, but man, this reminds me of this book. What we've been dealing with over the past 4 years, where they tell you, hey, don't believe a word that you hear. Don't believe anything you say. You only believe what we tell you. And if we don't tell you, you can't believe it. It's not true. I feel like we're living in 1984 right now. The book, that is. If you haven't read it, take some time, check it out. It might be on YouTube. You can listen to it for free. So what do we do, man? What do we do? We just keep our eyes peeled, man. We just keep asking questions. We keep demanding answers. Keep praying. I tell people all the time, y'all see my shirt, I don't have it on today, but it says pray, don't worry. So I don't really worry about these things, because it's going to be what it's going to be. But, at the same time, I think we all deserve answers. We all deserve answers. So let's shift gears for a second. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do so, we've been talking about these drones and this missing radioactive material, but now it's time to tackle something, just as alarming. This media integrity, or the lack of. Case in point, ABC News, they just quietly settled a defamation lawsuit with Trump for $15 million. And honestly, it feels like it's just pocket change, but here's the backstory. Back in March, George Stephanopoulos, yes, your favorite, ABC correspondent, George, the former Clinton operative that turned ABC host, interviewed Representative Nancy Mace, and during that segment, falsely claimed that Trump had been liable for rape in the E. Jean Carroll rape case, and for defaming the victim. And that was a flat out misrepresentation, and Trump didn't let it slide. And let's not forget, Stephanopoulos has a history of partying with Jeffrey Epstein after the scandal broke, failing to disclose his $75,000 donation to the Clinton Foundation while covering it on air. But I digress. The bottom line is that ABC caved, Trump walked away with $15 million, and for his potential presidential library, and the network's credibility is shot. And we'll get into that story next.
Look outside the window, see the world on fire. People screaming freedom, but they're preaching to the choir. My heart feels heavy, but my soul stays high. Living for the truth, not the gains of a liar. In this game of life, everyone's a player. But how many truly live without a slayer? Trying to find the light while walking through the layers. Real talk, no filter, no overused prayer. We're chasing dreams in a restless land, holding tight to visions with an open hand, breaking all the chains, taking our stand. Life's a righteous ride, we've got it all planned. They sell us dreams dressed in glittery clothes, yet the wisest ones know how the story goes. Filtered truths and lies wrapped in golden bows. We rise above the noise where the freedom flows. Entertainment fills the screens, but what's real?
For it today.
I'm asking you a very simple question.
And I answered it. You're shaming me for my political choices.
I'm asking you a question about why you endorse someone who's been found liable for rape. Just
it was
answer the
not a
question.
criminal court. This was
a civil court.
It was a civil court. And by the way, she joked about the judgment and what she was going to do with all that money, and I find that offensive.
I'm asking you
but
about the
as
man
a
who's...
rape victim, who's been shamed for years now because of her rape. You're trying to shame me again by asking me this political question.
You've repeated that again.
I think it's offensive. As a woman, I find it offensive. For my political choices, I've endorsed the man that I believe is best for our country. It's not Joe Biden. And you looked at the dueling rallies yesterday in Georgia. Laken Riley's family was with Donald Trump. They weren't with Joe Biden. The same guy yesterday that apologized for calling her killer an illegal, who wasn't illegal. And here you are trying to shame a rape victim. I find it disgusting.
I mean, you keep saying I'm shaming you.
You are. The question, it is.
How is the question asking you about a presidential candidate who's
You're asking a rape victim.
And there's no question about that. And you've courageously talked about that.
Because I've been raped. I think that's disgusting.
No, I'm questioning your political choices because you're supporting
me. You're
someone who's been found liable for rape. Actually, I'm not trying to shame you.
You are. That's exactly what you're doing.
You're not answering the question.
I think it's disgusting.
Well, you're welcome to say that, but you have to answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape?
I just answered your question.
What is the answer?
He was not found guilty in a criminal court of law. It was sexual abuse. It wasn't actually rape, by the way. And E. Jean Carroll joked about all the money she's going to get and made a mockery out of this case. And I think that's offensive. There's a reason why women don't come forward. And when you have someone who says that they're raped and they make a mockery out of this civil court judgment, it's offensive to other women. It makes it harder for other women to come forward when another woman has made a mockery of it.
You said women don't come forward because they are afraid. They are afraid because
they're
judged
defamed and shamed,
by those
like you're trying to shame me this morning.
They are afraid to come forward, as you said, because they are defamed by those who commit the rape. That's what Donald Trump has been found guilty of doing.
He defended himself over that and denies that it ever happened, but he was not found guilty in a criminal court of law.
For the life of me, I don't understand why this dude wasn't fired. Anybody else, if you did something along those lines, you would have been fired. But of course, there's never any accountability from the media for spreading complete and total lies. And they'll sweep it up under the rug and they'll make, some, small retraction. It'll be really small on the back page, or it'll be at the very end of a broadcast or in the middle of a broadcast, and it'll be a slight blip. But let me be clear. Trump was not found liable for rape. The case ruled on sexual abuse, which legally is not the same as an assault. But George, being the Democrat propagandist that he is, repeated that lie on air 10 times in an attempt to smear Trump. And this wasn't an accident. It was not an accident. This was on purpose. George knows the difference, but he kept saying it because it hits harder than, abuse. And he wanted to twist the narrative. But anyway, ABC News had to cough up $15 million to settle a defamation lawsuit filed by Trump because Stephanopoulos lied on air, apparently by mistake. But let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. This was deliberate, and it was a deliberate misrepresentation. And again, how did Stephanopoulos keep his job? I'm going to tell you how. The reason he kept his job is because they're all in on it. All up and down ABC. They're all in on it. He was probably told by his bosses, you better do it. So, and the $15 million is a drop in the bucket for these guys. They didn't care. And the lack of accountability, in the media, it's staggering, but they've made a bed and they are lying in it because no one believes them. Their credibility is shot right now. Let's just keep it real. If you or myself made a mistake like this at work, especially one that cost the company millions of dollars, your behind would be out the door faster than you could say lawsuit. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. But here we are with George still on the air, still on the payroll, still getting a big check. I'm sure he's making a couple M's. Now, what I'd love to see is that these media outlets, these leftist propagandist media outlets, I love seeing the fact that they are scrambling, they are panicking, and it's a good thing. You can almost hear the collective gasp from the newsrooms across the country. What if we're next? What if we're next? And honestly, with the way some of these outlets have reported on Trump, they might have a reason to worry. Trump's been going, yeah, they've been going after the media and winning. And now he's threatening to sue them into oblivion, which is great, and he should. Mainstream media, legacy media, they've lost their usefulness. I mean, these networks, they've been lying about this guy, but lying about a lot of things for years with zero accountability. Convicted felon, liable of great dozens of, SA allegations, Russian assets, Russian collusion, so on, so forth. It's ridiculous. They can say this garbage on repeat like it's the gospel, and nobody holds them accountable. And why? Because they think they can get away with it. Well, this case may show that they can't get away with it anymore. And Trump straight up said he's filing lawsuits against outlets like 60 Minutes and the Des Moines Register for running blatantly false stories. And Jake Tapper over at CNN practically had a meltdown when Trump made the announcement. Y'all guys got to see this. I don't know if you guys have seen this clip, but you guys got to check this out, man.
Kristen, I don't want to overstate Trump's friendliness and genial attitude at this press conference, because this weekend ABC News agreed to pay $16 million, including legal fees, to settle a defamation lawsuit brought by Trump against the network and their anchor, George Stephanopoulos. And that obviously will not be the end of this campaign against the media, a legal campaign against the media. We heard him go after many other news outlets today. Take a listen.
I'm going to be bringing one against the people in Iowa, their newspaper. We're filing one on 60 Minutes. We're involved in one which has been going on for a while and very successfully against Bob Woodward. We have one, very interestingly, on Pulitzer, because reporters at the New York Times, Washington Post got Pulitzer Prizes for their wonderful, accurate, and highly professional reporting on the Russia hoax.
We don't have time to go into all of that, but just to touch base on a couple. There's one of them is the people of Iowa, the Des Moines Register. That's because there was a poll that was inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
The one on 60 Minutes is because they didn't like the editing that had been done to the Kamala Harris.
From Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I mean, this is wildly ridiculous.
Well, one of the things to keep in mind here is that Donald Trump feels like he won. I mean, this weekend, by having a settlement with ABC, one that many people did not think was going to come to fruition. They thought that this would end up in court, or that it would certainly not be a settlement in which ABC paid $16 million and issued a public apology, which was part of this, has been a situation which has empowered and emboldened Donald Trump.
Oh, Jake. Why so scared, Jake? Dude looks shook, man. He looks shook. Is it maybe because you're currently involved in a lawsuit that was brought against CNN by a Navy veteran whom you smeared with false claims about the veteran's work extracting people from Afghanistan? What's ridiculous is how these people act like activists instead of journalists. That's what's ridiculous. That's what's really ridiculous. It's not about the facts, and it hasn't been for a long time with these folks. It's about pushing their anti-Trump narrative. You know, Trump's lawsuit against ABC, where they coughed up over $15 million to settle, sent a clear message. Lie about Trump and pay the price. Enough's enough, man. For years, the media has been protected. No one holds these people accountable. Not Joy Reid, not Rachel Maddow, Jake Tapper, those Mika and Joe. I mean, no one holds these people accountable, man. They can just say anything. And the crazy thing is that half the country believes these fools. They just think that they can say whatever they want, twist the truth, and never face the consequences. How many times have you seen these people write a story in the paper, it's front page, bold lettering, only to have to retract it a week, a month, 6 months down the line, but they don't put that retraction in bold writing on the front. They throw it in the back somewhere. But Trump right now, he is showing that they're not untouchable. ABC News paid up and more networks will follow. And why? because they know Trump will win in court and they don't want their dirty laundry exposed in a trial. See, the thing is that when you go to court and you get up on that stand and you're asked to testify, anything could be asked. And you got to tell the truth about it or, be held, liable for perjury. So honestly, this situation, it's not about the money for Trump. You know that. That dude's he's got tons of money. It's not about the money, but it's about principles. It's about principles. If these outlets want to avoid lawsuits, it's simple. Stop lying and just report the facts. Just report the facts. Stop calling yourself a journalist when you're giving opinion. Journalists report facts. How about these legacy media folk get back to that? What we're seeing here with ABC and what we've seen with other networks isn't just an isolated incident. It's a pattern of bias where the narrative takes precedence over the truth. When Stephanopoulos or, any other journalist chooses to frame a story in a way that benefits their political stance or personal beliefs, at that point, we're not getting the news anymore. We're getting propaganda. We're getting propaganda. Simple as that. And the media has become adept at hiding the truth, or at least parts of it. They might omit details, bury stories if it don't fit their narrative, or spin facts until it's unrecognizable. This isn't about being wrong occasionally. It's about a systematic approach to shaping public opinion through selective reporting. That's what this is about. When lies are spread, especially on a platform as influential as national television, and thank goodness, thank God, the mainstream media is losing its grip. They're losing their power, but it's still there. And there's still a swath of people who do listen to them and believe that what they're being told on those networks is the truth. There's still enough people that do that. But when this happens, the consequences, it ripples through society. When networks like ABC, CNN, or, any other major outlet decide to lie and misrepresent the facts, they play with fire. And now with Trump's lawsuits, they're feeling the heat. But, Trump's legal battles with the media outlets could lead to a more cautious approach in reporting, or, at least a more truthful one. And honestly, I think that is a good thing. It is a good thing for America. These legacy media platforms, they need to be held accountable, and they need to get back to just reporting the facts and telling the truth of these stories. Not trying to push a narrative, not trying to sway opinions. That's what they've been doing for a long time now. And that's definitely what they've done over the past 4 years. Think about how many times they told us how sharp Joe Biden was. Oh, he's got it going on, man. He's sharp as a tack, man. He's taking charge of all the meetings. And then it comes out that he's shuffling his feet and the dude can barely put sentences together. Come on, man. You're absolutely right, Carla. The propaganda is set. It's meant to brainwash the people. And that's why we have so many people with TDS in this country. It's not because Trump is who they say they are. It's because they've been watching MSNBC. They've been watching Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow and these fools over there. And they've been brainwashed. They've been programmed. But they used to say all the time, TV programming, they got to tell you what they're doing. They got to tell you this is TV programming. They are programming you to believe whatever narrative they want you to believe. And you can't be programmed if you don't watch it. You can't be programmed if you don't watch it. And it's so unfortunate because you have a lot of older people in this country that still hold on to that narrative that these legacy media platforms are telling the truth. If it came from MSDNC, it's got to be the truth. It's got to be the gospel. It's real. They wouldn't lie to me. If it comes from CNN, they wouldn't lie to me. If it came from the Washington Post, Those people, man, those are trained journalists. They wouldn't lie. And then you find out later down the line, man, these people, they lie every day. They like lawyers, man. They're like lawyers. It's freaking ridiculous, man. It really is. It really is. But that's all I got today, man. Shorter show today than normal, but that's all I got today. I appreciate everybody pulling up. Shout out to Ryan Henderson. I don't know if Ed pulled up today or not. I don't know if I seen Ed today. But shout out to you guys. Shout out to the mods, T.A. Caskey. If you are interested in being a mod, shoot me an email. We can make that happen pretty quickly. It's pretty easy to do, you know. But again, you know, like I said, I like people in the chat to be able to, you know, speak their mind. Civil discourse, I think it's important. We will not censor anybody in the chat, as long as you're being civilized and not attacking anybody. You know, I think, you know, it's a place where people should be able to go and, you know, have conversations, whether you agree or not. We don't need to agree, but we should be civil. But I appreciate you guys pulling up. Zephyr K9, I appreciate you pulling up. RJ Hudson, appreciate you pulling up. Who else? Who did I miss? Cameron, Kenny G, appreciate you pulling up today, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We will be back tomorrow, Lord willing, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have another show, same bad time, same bad channel. Definitely appreciate you guys pulling up. On the way out the building, if you could hit that like button for me, it would be greatly appreciated. And, you know, as I always say, you know, there's a lot of craziness going on out here, you know, but at the same time, I will say, you know, pray, don't worry, stay prayed up, keep God first in your life, and we'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.